wonders who brought you RuPaul's Drag Race and $1 Million Listing. This is World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Well, hello. Today it's our 100th episode.
We've done 100 episodes of the Wow Report.
That is 2 years, you guys, that we've been together.
Yes.
And today...
Well, what could be more special than being joined by the man who made it all possible? Andy Cohen!
Hey.
Oh my God!
It's also your last episode.
Depending how this goes. At least let's get through this one.
It's gonna go great. I can't believe we are here looking out on Hollywood Boulevard. When you say we're on Hollywood Boulevard,
really are.
I never realized we are literally in a windowed studio looking out at RuPaul's star on the Walk of Fame and the Go-Go's and Errol Flynn, and it's really cool. And there's a lot of schlubs walking by.
Well, every once in a while, you
There's
will
a
get
diamond
a
in the
very...
rough.
Yes,
Really
yes.
good.
It
Homeless.
used to be uber schlubby.
Right. But now it's homeless and hotties.
Yes.
When they're
We don't-
homeless and hot.
Yeah,
And
good.
the
You
first
never
year,
know what to
though,
do.
we were in the dungeon at World of Wonder for a long time until we got the studio.
Yeah.
So we have upgraded a bit.
We have, because we're making so much money off this show.
Yeah, are you? Really?
But
It's a special show.
It's a special show.
Not only is it our 100th,
Right.
but instead of counting down the top 10 things that made us go,
Wow.
this week, we are, because we all work in television,
Yes.
we're all gay, we were all
Ish.
influenced. You were like a
Gay-ish.
boob tube kid, right?
Yes, major.
So we're going to count down the top 10 shows that made us go gay.
Gay.
Yeah.
Get it? Anyway.
Well, then, without further ado.
So these are the top 10 gayish shows, or the shows
sort of
that influenced us as
Yes.
gay men?
Yes.
Got it.
Yes, and they don't have to be gay, but gay-ish.
Right.
Okay.
And the only other rule was nothing on the air. So we're not talking RuPaul's Drag Race.
Oh,
we're
right.
not talking
Nothing
choreography.
on the air
We're
now.
not talking Will and
Yes.
Grace. Okay.
Right. Okay, fine.
Although Will and Grace. Yes,
We love
right.
them all.
Right.
Okay. Without
Yeah,
further ado,
that's an important thing.
Yes.
They're not on the air right now.
Yes.
These are shows that shaped us.
Yes.
Yes,
Right.
it's a historical show.
Yes.
Look back in time.
Right.
Without further ado, then, Andy, number 10, take it away.
Number 10.
Well, I question the placement of this at number 10.
Already?
but that's
Being
Ten's a
difficult?
good slot. Ten's a good
that's
slot.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't
well,
know.
we
You
have
don't
a
need
few
to blow
listeners.
smoke
We'd
up
like
my
to-
ass about the number 10 slot. But I mean, it's Sex and the City to me dominated the late 90s and early 2000s for gay men, for every gay guy that I knew. I mean, it was like girls and gay guys, and there was a lot of debate about whether this show was actually about for gay guys, whether it was meant for gay guys.
It was written by gay guys.
It was written
largely.
by, there were a lot
For
of gay guys
fashion
in the round,
queens,
you know,
yes,
yeah. I mean, it was just, it was just not only the fashion, and it was so visually exciting, but it was so funny and had such a gay sensibility. What were you?
Well, I was just thinking Cosmopolitans. I mean, that's what it did for
Right.
me. I was like, I want to drink Cosmopolitans, and shoes, of course.
Yes.
and that's where you come in.
Oh, because I played a shoe salesman.
you
I did
did.
in the last season. And people don't realize
Right.
this. I was also, in season 4, I was shirtless gay guy next to Carrie Bradshaw at a gay bar.
Okay.
And the shot is cut out of the syndicated version of the show.
'Cause you're too-
so it's
you're too
only on
hot.
the DVD. It's such
Too
a
hot
quick
for
shot.
syndication. Andy
Exactly.
Cohen.
It's such a quick shot. But
I
they-
remember Sunday nights.
Yeah.
HBO.
Yep, 9
whether,
o'clock.
Whether it was The Sopranos or Sex and the City, you couldn't wait to get to HBO.
Yes.
I remember watching those like appointment television, no DVRing, none of that. You would just sit there, and then I would call my friends.
Yes. What
afterwards.
did you think? What did you think?
Because they brought up all these topics, and there was one episode where Carrie, what was her gay best friend? It was
Stanford.
Stanford,
yeah.
Who
and
I have
she's-
big issues with.
Okay, and she was cheating on Stanford with a new gay.
Yes, that was
And-
great.
and it
that
was-
Australian guy.
and it was the
That's
question.
the episode I'm in, I think, actually. I
Oh,
think so. I think they
it's a
go to. Is
super
that the
gay
one that they
episode.
go to the
Is
gay
that all
bar?
that glitters?
Yes.
Yes. Right. Season 6.
Because
Season 4.
Season 4.
Season 4
Yes.
was all that glitters.
But I remember because they came up with the expression, which I love. They came up with different languages for us to understand. It was our lives were being represented for the first time on TV.
Yes.
In a way, it was like, "Are you my gay husband? or my gay boyfriend. And I've called my friend Carolyn Bernstein. I was just like, she just got married. I just want to know, am I your gay husband or your gay
That is so
boyfriend?
funny. But you're so right. It was about, they really did kind of set the tone of a lot of vernacular. They made up so many phrases and, but
What's your favorite?
my favorite episode?
Sex and the City catchphrase.
Oh, that's a really good question.
I just remember like breaking up on a Post-it was a big deal. It's
Right.
not like a catchphrase.
right.
but
Okay,
it's-
Fashion Roadkill. Yeah, that was a big
was
one for
really
me.
good.
That's
Yeah.
when she falls down.
Yes, on the
oh my
runway.
God,
Uh-huh.
makes me
That
cry
was amazing
thinking about it.
I just want to say, I always thought Carrie was way cooler than. I just thought Stanford was not a good gay husband
Did
for her.
she didn't deserve him, or she
Yes.
deserved someone better?
Yeah.
He was a little clowny.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I hear what
I'm
you're
always
saying.
like-
But how many times have we worn crinoline running down the street and doing our Carrie Bradshaw fantasy?
Yes.
And, I mean, like, there have been so many where I, have a big curly wig and I just can't take it off.
Then a bus splashes you.
Constantly. Constantly.
Well, Sex and the City ran for 94 episodes,
Wow.
7 Emmys, 8 Golden Globes. Yeah.
So many of those were for
think
Pat, right?
This is
For
the
Pat
20th
Field.
anniversary. I think it debuted in
Is it?
98.
In 1998.
You're
That is
kidding
absolutely
me.
correct. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. And now the fantasy is over. You
Yeah,
know
well,
what's
it
so
is, isn't
funny?
it?
You know what's so funny? It was a show all about supporting women. I thought it was kind of ironic as the Housewives guy that this was a show that was all about supporting women, and the reality that comes out all these years later is that Kim Cattrall is a lunatic and she hates Sarah Jessica. And it's like, I was like, when that happened, I was like, oh, well, this is interesting.
Right.
Well, it is, it was at the same time as the Spice Girls. It was that sort of girl power era right there.
yep.
And then we've learned that the Spice Girls all hate each other too, that the
Yes,
whole
right.
era was a lie.
But they are reuniting, right?
The Spice Girls
are
hate
coming-
each other, but they love money, so
Yeah.
they reunite a lot.
Yes. Right.
All right, so moving on to the top 10 gay shows that made us go,
I'm gay.
gay. Yeah. Go Faye. James, number 9.
Number 9.
We're going way back for this one. Love Boat. The Love Boat.
How did that make you gay?
Okay, first of all, it was the first time that I ever was exposed to like golden age superstar, like the stars, like because
Okay.
Lillian Gish and Helen Hayes,
Okay.
Ann Miller.
You had Ann Miller, you had
Yes.
Ethel Merman coming on with Ann Miller. I mean,
Yes.
like all of that. It's
Warhol was in it.
So,
Yes.
there was the
Yes.
Warhol
Yes.
episode. Remember, Marion Ross was his. There was an
Stubing's wife.
No, she was an ex-Warhol star, and she was being chasing
right.
around
Oh,
the
you're
whole
kidding.
time, trying to avoid Andy.
so
And
funny.
Andy just wanted money, right?
There was
But,
also-
but Marion Ross wound up marrying Captain Stubing as well.
did.
Yeah, she did
Yes.
later
Well, she was
on.
Well,
she did.
Because there were all those people like Florence Henderson and Charo and
Yes.
Jaja and Adrienne Barbeau and the Audra Landers, and they were all on like 100
They
times.
paid their mortgage doing Love Boat.
Yes,
Yeah.
they did.
Yes,
And so
stars.
I was exposed to all of those people. I also remember very vividly, like the Andy one was the Halston episode when
Yes.
Halston and Gloria Vanderbilt and Jeffrey Bean and Bob Mackey was on it. So it was something. I've talked a lot about how Saturday growing up was like my safe space. That was
Yeah.
the day
Yeah.
where like there was no bullies.
Love Boat, Fantasy
Love
Island.
Boat, Fantasy Island, Saturday Night Live. You
Yeah.
got pizza. You had your friend over, and it was just like that was a day that was just like a perfect day.
Yes.
and
A
so
perfect gay day. Saturday.
Saturday,
Yeah.
yes. So it's just
Saturday's
one
all
of those things. I just recently marathon 10 seasons
Of Love Boat?
Of Love Boat.
He doesn't
I
sleep.
did.
He does not sleep.
But that does not. I mean, listen. I was somewhere in some country where the only thing that you could watch was Love Boat, and I was kind of stoned, and it was late at night, and I was like, "Oh, this is amazing!" But I cannot imagine for the life of me binging Love Boat.
Well, see, because also right now we've
And
talked
is
about
Lauren
this.
Tweez all coked out the whole time?
Coked the entire time.
Really?
Because remember, she was Julie McCoy, the
Yeah.
cruise director,
Yeah.
and then they replaced her about 7 seasons in.
With
'cause she was-
Inga or Elke or someone.
Oh,
And
right.
then Tori
And-
Spelling came
Yes,
on
she
too.
was on it.
Remember,
Yes.
young Tori.
Up on that, Tori.
no.
But when you
Yes.
go back and rewatch it, does it stand the test of time?
No.
Or is it,
No, it does.
Really?
No, it does.
Come
I mean, I have no
on,
taste
sweetie.
anyway. But, because you're talking to the guy, I'm 270 episodes into Dark Shadows right now, okay? So I have like a tolerance level
Yeah,
that is up
obviously.
to here.
Wow.
And I can just sink into those things and just...
Is your apartment like
It's a
are you a
womb.
pack rat?
It's a
Honey, you
womb.
should mention that.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm a hoarder.
Right, okay.
I have serious issues. How did you
Okay.
get that from this?
I don't know. I just did.
It's a dark
It's-
I'm
space.
visualizing.
It's a scary place.
It's a womb without a view, right?
That's exactly. We haven't opened the windows in
Ooh,
like
there
10
are people
years.
taking pictures of the RuPaul star.
Very
That's
sexy,
nice.
yeah, very
Anyway,
sexy.
sorry.
So yeah, so that's
Okay, you
all right.
convinced me. Okay, I got it.
Now
I
you'll
like
binge it,
I
right?
did
No,
watch.
I'm not
I
going to
did
binge it,
watch.
but I understand why it's on the list. I
Who
got
do
it.
you think appeared the most on Love Boat?
It was I think it was
Charo.
Was it Charo?
Oh, I bet.
And Florence Henderson maybe.
Yes.
Florence
Yeah.
Henderson?
Yes, 9 times.
Wow.
Yeah.
Linda Evans, 7.
Really?
Okay.
Huh?
I used to be like at home, not knowing anything about television. I would realize they use really old stars or ABC stars in the first year of their show.
Yes.
Well, listen.
It's like it was part of their contract. Like Tom Hanks, you're on Bosom Buddies, and you have to do a Love Boat.
Yeah.
Well, here's the
right.
thing, though. There were always there were 3 storylines
Yes, there
going.
were.
There was one with a current ABC star. There was an old timer,
the old
and then
people.
there was an episode. There was always something to do with like the people on the ship,
The
the
boatiness
employees.
piece.
Yes, yes.
Right.
I was very attracted to Ted McGinley.
Who isn't? Who wore
yeah.
shorts, I believe, a great deal.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, well, he was the
Gorgeous
one who
legs.
was on Married with Children and Happy Days, and they always brought him in like the
blonde
8th
hair, he
season.
was
Fix
the
it
hot
to,
guy,
to
yeah.
boost
Uh-huh.
up at the end.
Yep.
He was even on Dynasty for a while, wasn't he?
I think he was.
Yeah.
Actually. Yeah.
Well,
he
Love
was-
Boat was on the air for almost 10 years, starting in 1977, and Sundays at 5 and 6 p.m. on MeTV.
Oh, it's there
yeah,
now?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Did you say we or me?
Me.
Me.
No, not we. We's
they-
gone all crime, and it may
they-
be a crime, but
The Crime and Braxton's, right? But also, what about you know who I hated on Love Boat? I know we have to move on. Vicky, she was she Captain Stubing's
She was
daughter?
the
Yeah,
one,
I did
yes.
not care for her.
I
Anyway.
always said that she had a pan face because it looked like in the
Yes,
cartoons
she
she got hit by a pan,
fan.
and then it
Oh.
Yeah,
stayed.
I didn't like her
Oh, she's
hair.
listening right
With her
now.
I love you. I love her
clipboard.
now. Sure, she's changed.
okay, so let's carry on with the top 10 shows that made us go gay. Tom, number 8.
Number 8.
Love Boat is like current events compared to what I'm going to bring up here.
Oh my God.
Bewitched.
Oh yeah, of
I'm
course.
one of the older people at the table, but they used to replay Bewitched at lunchtime.
Yeah.
And
with I Dream of Jeannie right afterwards.
yes, and they would.
I always get them muddled up.
So I'd see the repeats, and my mom, because I'm gay, would make me, I have my Campbell soup, and my sandwich had to be cut on an angle, and I would sit and eat in front of the television and watch Bewitched. And it's the first memories I have, like, this is what a mother-in-law is supposed to look like.
Like Endora?
Or Mrs. Stevens.
Oh,
and that's what a nosy neighbor looks like, Mrs. Kravitz.
Yeah.
But it really, people have to have watched it. But Elizabeth Montgomery is, I think there was an True Hollywood story that called her the Grace Kelly of television. And I agree. She was very
a beauty.
beautiful.
I think I had a crush on her before I was.
That heart-shaped pendant she wore, the sleeveless dresses.
She was amazing.
Well, and
she was
Serena.
Yes,
This-
her twins.
Pandora
Her
box.
evil.
But it was amazing. But, and they talk about, funny you mentioned I Dream of Jeannie because, television just rips off whatever's a hit. So Bewitched is a big hit. She's a witch married to a mortal, and they have to keep it secret from the neighbors. So it was the perfect
It's gay. It's a
metaphor
gay
because
metaphor.
mom is incredibly powerful. She has skills, and she solves everything in the end, but nobody can know.
Wow.
And so
It's like Frozen.
Well,
Okay.
it's the same thing with superheroes.
She's got a sort of...
Yes.
Superheroes
Yes.
always have the secret
mystic
identity.
And the
Power.
neighbors are always
Yeah.
trying to bust her and
Yes.
look in the windows.
Mr.
Now, I
Tate.
Dream of Jeannie, which is the ripoff, is heterosexual because it's all about master.
It's subjugating
oh, no,
women,
Master, I
yes.
couldn't, master. And she
She's
lives
keeping her in a
she's
bottle.
Getting shoved in a
she
bottle.
has to ask Master for everything.
But
yes.
Elizabeth Montgomery solved, and I wanted to be in advertising because I always thought it was like in the last 3 minutes where it's like, wait a minute, air rhymes with pear. They would come up with some great slogan and give it to the client.
But
right.
also, what's very gay about it is that, they used all the Orson Welles people as cast
'Cause-
members. There was Paul Lynde was in it.
Gay.
Agnes Moorehead was an old
Gay.
Yeah.
Maurice Evans, the father.
the father. There was Dr. Bombay.
Gay.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
it was all the supporting cast were
Yeah.
all these really outlandish
Ghostly.
camp
And
characters.
The show intro was amazing. That cartoon with her flying around on the broom.
I used to do voiceover. Bewitched, starring Elizabeth Montgomery. I used to do a lot of VO work in my living room.
Yeah, I know that.
But also when you just think of the wonderful blue eyeshadow that Agnes Moorehead always wore and the caftans, it was the different. And she brought her own jewelry every week.
True?
Because the costume budget was nothing, so she would bring her own jewels and her own Miriam Haskell jewelry and things.
You watch that and it just fills me with joy because it's colorful and it's fun. Because that was the big thing too. It was like next Bewitched in color.
Yes.
And we didn't even have a color set, and I would be all
And
like,
it was so colorful, that show.
Yes.
It really was.
There was one episode, I'm getting obscure, but I'm going to go there, toward the end, where there was a black couple, a beautiful, like in 1971, a black couple dropped off their daughter to spend time with Tabitha. And the girls so wanted, they're spending the weekend together. They were being made fun of at school because they said they're sisters, but they said, you're not the same color. So Tabitha, who was a witch too, turned them into black and white polka dots. And they couldn't break the spell because she wanted it so bad. She wanted them to be sisters, and there was a racist client who thought, you have to see this, Mike. What it's called? It was a racist client, and Larry Tate, who was always about money and always self-serving. He looked in the face of the racist man and said, "I don't want your business. Fare thee well, sir."
I love it.
And so they were doing progressive things on
Any
Bewitched.
possibility of you binging this show?
Well, I think I probably have. I don't know where to find it now. Is it on?
I'm sure it's under your
I
couch.
think they have it on Level. The only thing I will say, also, Elizabeth Montgomery turned out to be a real gay advocate, even though she died young. But Dick Sargent, came out, and they led the gay and lesbian parade one year, and during the height of AIDS, when no one was identifying, she was a little Elizabeth Taylor.
Did Dick Sargent die of AIDS?
Yes, he did.
He did die. Did he die of AIDS?
I can't tell. Which one is Dick York and which one is Dick Sargent?
I can't either
They
still.
look so much
Dick
alike.
York was the first, right? And then he had severe back problems. Because I know they had to have special furniture for him.
Is that right?
There's a gay. It's true.
Wikipedia, my source of all
True Hollywood story.
information.
There is a gay urban legend which I will spread here on the radio. Which is supposedly there was on Melrose. There was a gay bar called The One. Do you remember this bar? I was before you guys came here. And supposedly Dick Sargent used to hang out there a lot. This is in the 90s, so he's past his prime. And he was hitting on this one guy, and the one guy stood up, so the whole bar could hear, and he said, "Spirits far, spirits near, make Darren Stevens disappear." I always
That
liked
sounds like
story.
an urban
You
legend.
laugh, and then
That
you go,
does.
"Oh." You're like, I don't know.
And did you know Darren and Samantha Stevens lived at 1164 Morning Glory Circle?
Blinky, blinky,
What
blink.
is that? Morning Glory Circle?
What, you're trying to make glory hole joke?
Morning Glory. It's a rude thing. It's a
what thing?
stiffy in the morning. It's
Okay, well, here's my trivia question.
Oh, is that what
Glory.
it's called? A morning glory?
Yes.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Well, here's my trivia question, though.
Okay.
Where did the Munsters live?
Oh, they lived on Mockingbird
1313
Lane, right?
Mockingbird Lane. We watched a lot of TV, folks.
All right, so we got to take a quick break, and I have a trivia question for you.
Okay.
So actually, interestingly enough, Bewitched was the longest running of the so-called fantasy sitcoms.
Okay.
But that's not the question. The question is this. Bewitched and Love Boat both ran for a long time, but which ran for more episodes? Listening to the Wow Report on Radio Andy Sirius XM.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
Hi, drag fans all over the world. I am Manila Luzon. I want you all to come to RuPaul's DragCon in Los Angeles on May 11, 12, and 13. 3 days of DragCon. It's gonna be the biggest RuPaul's DragCon ever! So get your tickets now at RuPaulsDragCon.com.
Welcome back to the Wow Report, and we are counting down the top 10 all-time gay TV shows that made us go, wow. We'll get it right in the end. I was so excited that we have Andy Cohen here.
Oh,
our
I'm
Lord
so
and
excited to
Master.
be
Yes.
here.
That I didn't introduce you. Tom Campbell,
I'm here every week.
our chief Imagineer, and James St. James, our abiding inspiration.
Here we go.
And I'm Fenner Bailey, co-founder of World of Wonder.
Yay.
So, yay. Before the break, the question was, between The Love Boat and Bewitched, which
Series.
which had the most episodes?
I'm gonna say Bewitched because they were half hours.
I'm gonna say that too, and I feel like they used to do huge sitcom orders back then. They do like
Right.
30 episodes.
Yeah, right.
Right. Okay. Well, I'll just be contrarian and say Love Boat, but
Well, Bewitched cast its spell for 254 episodes.
Okay.
Love Boat.
But the Love Boat sank
500.
after 250.
Oh.
So Bewitched wins.
Wow.
You win nothing, of course.
Just to remind you too, we're celebrating our 100th episode of the Wow Report. That's why Andy's here.
Wow.
Wow. Oh, it's my turn.
Yes. I was filling in. I
Thank you
thought.
very much. So that's
Yeah.
good. Okay.
Number 7.
Any of you seen Are You Being Served?
Is it a porn?
Well, in some ways, yes. It's a
Really?
British sitcom.
That takes place at a department store.
It does.
And there's
I
a
have seen it.
blue-haired lady, right?
Yes, called Mrs. Slocum. Okay,
Yes.
so it's set in a fictional department store called Grace Brothers, but it was actually inspired by Simpsons of Piccadilly, which is a very old school couture house where you go and get your suits. I actually worked there as a student one Christmas holidays. And the characters on the floor, they really were these sort of gothic, bizarre lifers. And it was a sitcom that was based on all these crazy characters, Mrs. Slocum especially, who had different colored hair, pink hair, blue hair.
Sort of a Dame Edna lookalike. Am I
Right.
correct?
And she always talked about her cat, which she called her
Why
pussy.
did you look at me?
Her pussy, because you're a cat lover, but you don't call your cat your pussy. And Mrs. Slocum's pussy was basically perhaps the only joke in the show. And it was a recurring joke. But it was very avant-garde to refer to Mrs. Slocum's pussy. And
But
so
do they say pussy in the
Yes,
UK?
they do.
They
Yes,
do.
they do.
Yes.
I mean, that's the thing about UK sitcoms. I mean, I was reading an article that said it was a sophisticated sophomoric humor. It's not. It's just
It's Benny Hill. It's just
Yes.
all nothing but
It's
Benny Hill.
double entendre. It's absolutely outrageous.
What years did it go?
It ran for a long time, from 1972 to 1985.
Wow.
Right? That's
Okay, that's a
but
long time.
But in that time, they only produced 69 episodes.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
So
Six,
they were
and then
like,
we took a
we're
break.
doing, yeah, right. It's 1979, and we're doing 6 episodes.
Then we're doing Shakespeare in the Park.
Right, right.
But Mrs. Slocum's pussy, I mean, fueled the thing for like 12 years. And, you know, she came in one episode, my favorite. She's wearing a gas mask because there was a heavy fog out. And she said, what about this fog? My pussy has been gasping all night. Things of that nature. I mean, it never got old. And then the other fabulous character was Mr. Humphreys, whose catchphrase was, I'm free. So, and he was
makes
gay.
no sense.
And he'd say
Oh, he
things
was
like,
very gay.
he'd say things like, oh, it must be lovely being a queen. And the word versatile has been applied to me before. Or Count Poppycock, be getting your hands off my schnitzel. It's really very.
It feels like a reboot.
But
should
it
happen.
feels a bit
Fantastic.
It
drag
really
racing,
does, but it also
frankly.
feels like that is a great premise for a show. Like,
It
why
is,
has there never
right?
been a show set, a sitcom in a department store in
Well,
the
did
U.S.?
they have
I mean-
different people coming in each episode buying
Yes, of
things?
course, you have
and that was
customers
the-
coming in. You,
I mean,
have
it's
you measure their
endless.
inseams.
It's the Love Boat, but in
Yes.
a
Is that a challenge on Drag Race?
No, but there is that America Ferrera show now.
Oh, I love Superstore.
Superstore. But I like the idea of
He's
doing.
really
I
cute,
think they should do
though.
it at a department
Fancy
store.
department
yes,
store
but
better.
that's dying somehow.
Yes.
because
Well, there
no one's
was
buying
a
them.
U.S. adaptation pilot called Beans of Boston that aired in 1979 CBS, but it didn't make it to series. I mean, it's a peculiarly
they cut the
British-
pussy out of
They probably
Beans
was
of
no
Yeah,
Boston.
pussy,
exactly. Had
and there was
they
no
included that.
versatile John Inman,
Right.
unfortunately. James, you really should binge it. It's really good.
It sounds
James
really
seems
funny.
really busy.
Well, wait, but
Yeah, I
wasn't
know.
there another one with
James
guy?
is going to binge Marcus Welby, which ran for 15 seasons.
No, but there was
Been on to
another one that
Mannix.
that took place in there's another long running sitcom. and it
Dad's
was-
Army?
no,
No.
Of the Manor Born.
no. It's the guy from
The Good Life?
I don't know.
Absolutely
Python?
fabulous.
The guy from Monty Python, and he was
Faulty Towers.
Faulty Towers.
Yes.
That's the one that
Yes.
I tried. I have on my Netflix queue, but I haven't been able to get into it.
It's a particular taste, I guess. You can.
You know what's not on this list that should be?
What?
Absolutely fabulous.
Well,
Did we talk about
we
that?
did- that was one of my options, but then I decided not to do it, and I can't remember why. What was
Because you thought it was too.
too on the
On the
nose?
nose.
It
Yes.
was too a little,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
But, you know,
Okay.
maybe absolutely
All right.
fabulous.
You're
I
right.
was going to say inspired, perhaps, possibly Sex and the City. Do you see a link?
Maybe. I mean, they're
Zeitgeist.
both very gay.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, they have that in common.
What was the one that they tried to do in America with
They tried to do Kath and
They
Kim.
did-
They tried to do Ab Fab.
and they
never
Sybil.
worked.
Remember
Never
when Sybil
worked.
was trying to do
Never
that?
work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose The Office worked, right?
Yes, The Office
Yes,
worked.
that was the only one.
Yes.
Okay, you can stream Are You Being Served on BritBox. What is BritBox? I have no idea. It's probably some platform somewhere.
Well, I think so.
Probably something to do with British television.
Oh, okay.
Hey.
Represents Plus $3.99 a month.
Wow.
Less than a latte, but so much more. Have you signed up, Andy?
Yes.
Yes, he
We'll,
loves
we'll buy him a month. You know, that's his pay for being on the
me a
show.
password.
Yeah. Well, what have you got for us at number 6?
Number 6.
Number 6, you and I are sharing. Are we
I
sharing?
see Tom bouncing up and
well,
down.
I mean, here's the thing. I was going to say, look, I've got the Donny and Marie show, and I wrote share next to it because they both tick the same boxes.
And I throw in one piece of Cabernet in there too.
Fine. I mean, because we're talking about Bob Mackie.
Yes.
We're talking about sequins.
Yes.
We're talking about major, massive dance numbers, huge production numbers, fun chemistry of people. I mean, Donny and Marie, I loved them so much. I thought, and I've watched a lot of old Donny and Marie, and I'm blown away actually by and Cher too. They had to learn so many numbers per episode, so many dances. They covered so many songs. They had amazing guest stars.
What stars
They
can do
basically
that
were the
now?
most. No one. They were
Yeah.
basically the most.
Just drag queens.
They were like, yeah, right, just drag queens. They were so versatile, and they had huge stars, and just super
Real
talented.
workhorses.
Yes,
Yeah.
well, right. I mean, they were like, anorexic and on speed, and whatever. But everything
Marie
else was
does
fine.
look really skinny.
Oh no,
When you look
Marie!
back.
And Marie told me some story. She was on Andy Cohen Live recently, and she told me some story about some ABC executive taking her in the parking lot and telling her that if she didn't, and she was taking like Dexatrim at the time, and that she was getting fat and all this stuff. And as I was looking her telling the story, I was thinking, I wonder if you made this up, or if it's real. Like I just couldn't tell. But
Like,
anyway,
she wanted
the
to be a
shows
part of the
were
Me Too
amazing.
movement.
I don't know, but they were
that
so
holds up,
good.
and I will watch clips of it because they would pre-record the songs every week.
Yes.
And then they would lip sync.
Yes.
And Donny Marie never, like, they would be talking and singing.
They did not flinch. I didn't know they
Never.
were lip syncing.
Right.
It was an incredible. It was so great. Friday nights, my cousin Jody and I used to pretend to be Donny and
My
Marie.
sister and I used to pretend hairbrushes, the mirror behind the couch.
100%.
I had a friend who worked in Utah because they eventually shot them in the studio.
Yes,
the studio.
in Provo.
And he said that because the lip sync thing is, they had the microphones without the cords.
Right.
They were fake. That technology had not
right.
existed
Sure.
yet, but it gave them the ability to do. Because back in the day, you had to do.
You had to
Diana
work
Ross
with
in
it.
concert. You had to work
Yes,
that chord.
yes,
You had to work
yes.
that chord and that thing.
Couldn't trip yourself up.
But Donny and Marie were perfection. They would swing back and forth in perfect unison.
Perfect. I love
They
that.
would look at each other just occasionally, but not in a creepy "we're sleeping with each
No.
other" way. But
Yes.
just enough because they had to sing all these love songs as brother and sister.
What's the nature of their real relationship? Are they like
they hate
friendly?
each
I
other?
think kind of remember Sandy Gallen telling me that they hated each other,
you can-
didn't
yeah.
speak. I think they speak to each other on stage, and that's it.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
I met Donny Osmond in the late 80s when I worked at Sandy Gallen's office, and he was wild, like he was married, had children, and seemed wildly naive to the world.
Yeah.
I believe that. If they grew up on stage, they didn't.
Yeah.
And they were
Yeah.
Mormon, and
I saw them in Vegas. I'd say it's an amazing show.
Did you see them recently in Vegas?
Yes.
Really?
Like
I saw
at
it like
Christmas.
5 years ago, and I was like, this is amazing.
It is amazing.
Yes.
It
I
is
would-
amazing. And they banter on stage. And Nolan, my kid who was just 11, he got a VIP thing and he went backstage. They didn't talk.
Oh,
I mean,
I'm
I
sure.
didn't get any antagonistic vibes,
Yeah,
but they were
right.
just separate.
No.
It's like
No.
me and
in
James.
the same room, but separate.
We're not on the
camera
show.
goes off,
Yes.
forget it.
Right.
I would, but in a Donny versus Marie like SmackDown,
Yes.
I'd vote for Marie, and I'll tell you why. Because I used to watch her sell dolls on QVC.
yeah.
And there was one
Brilliant.
show where she was there talking about a doll, to put its little feet, little thing. You come back, she's not there. You cut to the dolls footage a little longer than usual. We come back and she's like, woo, whew. I just threw up on stage.
Oh my God, I love it.
And she was alive too. She's like, well, I used to do that all the time when I was pregnant doing The Sound of Music. So Marie will like throw up.
we don't
She's a
know
trooper.
what-
And then
She's
come
a
right back up
trooper,
and
Showbiz.
talk about the beautiful crinoline
They're
on the
both
back.
quite candid in a very polished showbiz way, and
Yes.
you just don't know if it's
And the
like
talent-
fake
But
to
I
real.
love Donny. I had
Yes,
such
yes.
a crush on
Me
him.
too. Impure
And I
thoughts.
had to cover it up by saying I was in love with Marie, but
Yeah,
it was
of
really,
course.
it was like,
Puppy
you know,
love, James.
Yeah, all of us.
So you were
All
really a
of
little
us.
country when in fact you
You were a little rock and roll.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, Donny and Marie show, sadly, it's not on anywhere.
YouTube, people, go
Right,
on
I guess
YouTube.
YouTube's
Yeah.
right. But you can go see them at the Flamingo in Las Vegas,
Yeah.
and their show's just been extended through the end of 2018. So it was supposed to be 6 weeks, and it's been 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
So they're
amazing.
amazing.
Yeah. What kind of money you think they make a week doing that show?
Do you think
Is this Vegas or
100?
Branson?
Where are we?
Vegas.
Vegas.
Yeah,
Okay.
100.
Vegas.
I mean, it is sold out. It is packed, and the chairs. I mean, we're quite close, but you're really
Is
jammed
that true?
in.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So maybe more than 100.
Wow.
Well, then why is she still doing like diet?
Because she's a workhorse.
They
Shit,
work.
this is
They
what
work
18
out.
children.
Yeah.
That's true.
And after the show, they
grandchildren.
always do meet and
And
greets.
they do the meet and greet.
And they
afterwards.
really
It's
engage with you
insane.
for at least 90 seconds.
Oh,
Which is a long time.
That is
No,
a long
I know,
line.
it's true.
So you're telling me that your son did the meet and greet for
Yes.
Donny and Marie?
Well,
and
they
was
really
he...
sort of treated him to it. And I
Right.
think Nolan just gamely went along with it. But he
Right.
did
But Nolan-
like,
I
But
think
Nolan is
Nolan does that a
game.
lot.
Yeah, I think
Nolan's
it's
like, we're at a
so
Celine
funny.
Dion concert, whatever. I'm 11 years old,
That's
here we
so
go.
Take him
funny.
to Philip Glass. I mean, the kid's been around.
he did fall asleep in Akhenaten.
Loser kid.
Third hour. James, number 5.
Number 5.
Probably the best show of all time, bar none. I will not have any arguments about this. Soap.
And how did it make you super gay?
Okay, well, there's a lot about
He
it.
was
that's very-
already gay.
You know, I mean, it's a very
gay,
camp show. And anyway, it's a
form
parody
his gayness.
of soap operas.
Yes.
And I'm all about the soap operas. I've been watching General Hospital for 45 years. I've been watching
find the time?
literally every day.
Are you binging
Days of
it?
Our Lives, General Hospital.
Wow.
Still to this day. I
I
go
don't know
back.
how he comes to work.
It's
Do
true.
you sleep?
No, never. Oh, yeah. Oh, there we go.
Look at cute guys.
There's
Sorry.
nakedness on the boulevard. If you want to see it, you can watch us on worldofwonder.net.
But, but you know, the thing about soap
Jody.
is the first season I was not allowed to watch because I was still too young, and my mother said that it was too adult for me.
Yes, there was a parental
Oh,
advisory
yeah.
beforehand.
The character of Jody, played by Billy Crystal. Did you ever get to watch this?
I watched some episodes. I thought it was a little weird.
No,
but,
it really holds up. This is the story of two sisters, Jessica, Mary Campbell, and Jessica Tate.
Right.
Here are the Tate. Almost here are the Tates. Anyway,
So
Jody,
good.
so good. But Jody was. It was written by what is her name? Susan
Whit.
Harris
And Whit.
Paul Younger Whit.
Yeah.
Who went on
And
to do Golden Girls?
Golden, and in fact, Jessica and Mary have cheesecake every episode.
right. Oh, that's
and that's
so
where
funny.
it starts. That's where it
Oh, I
started.
didn't know that.
Anyway, but the character of Jody was written by someone who never met a gay man in his life, I think, because he starts off and he's gay. Then he decides he's a transvestite. These are 70s terms. Then he wants to have a sex change. Then he decides he doesn't want a sex
insane.
change. He meets a woman and she gets pregnant. Then he goes back to being gay. Then he meets a lesbian and the lesbian turns straight for him and he turns gay for the lesbian. And you just get this feeling like that's not how this works.
right,
That's not,
right,
sort of how
right.
any of this
With
works.
a couple different changes, it's the James St. James story, really.
Yeah. Really?
And, but I mean, like, there's more sexual fluidity now, but at the time, like in the
Well, there you
70s,
go. It was-
They
you
gave
were-
him every gay-ish
Right.
stereotype.
And
Every
it's
letter of the
brilliant.
LGBTQA.
And it was a little
CWB.
insulting if you watch it now because
Sure.
the character is
Yeah, I'm
just
sure.
horrible. But at the time, it was like, there was no gay people on television. I mean, no
But,
openly
yeah, we're
gay
talking
people.
about
Right.
1981.
And the star of the show was the great.
Catherine Hellman.
Yes.
That
Yes.
was
The
Mona
greatest.
from,
Yeah.
Who's the boss?
Has she
Who's the
crossed
boss?
over? Or is she
No,
still with
she
us?
is still
That's
with
right,
us.
Yeah.
Yes,
And she
is.
was in all those wonderful movies, the
Rizzo Brazil.
The Brazil, the facelift, and
Yes.
Time Bandits, and So
She hosted a show we did on old people in
Wrinkly
TV.
Vision.
Wrinkly Vision.
Yes, I remember
Hilarious.
She was fabulous.
Reboot. Wrinkly Vision.
Put it on. We definitely put it on Wow Presents Plus. It's something else.
Do you binge on soap? Where do you watch it?
It was on Logo, in fact, because Logo just throws anything up. God bless them.
They have Bewitched, actually.
They did, and then
Oh,
Room
really?
212, and it was,
Really?
and
Room 222.
Room 222,
Which
and
I used to do a lot of
Facts
voiceover
of
for.
Light.
Oh, you did some voiceover work for
Karen
them too?
Valentine. I loved
Starring-
Karen Valentine.
Me too.
Karen Valentine.
Me too.
But I mean, I still remember so many of those plot lines that were on it. I remember when Chester had the amnesia. I remember when Bert was kidnapped by the aliens. Remember when
I literally watched this once when it was on the air, and it was made a big impact on me, but I've never seen repeats.
Oh.
So this is all tingling parts of my memory in a really exciting
It was really fun. It ran for 6 episodes. In the last episode, Jessica, 6 seasons, was in front of a firing squad in Central America, and they shot her, and she was. You see her bullet-ridden body fall to the ground, and they thought they had another season. They thought they were going to be renewed, and they weren't. So they ended up killing the main character of the last episode.
I think that's
And
good.
it was, to this day, I still worry about Jessica.
You wake up in the
she's
middle
dead,
of the night, what's
sweetie.
happening?
What are we going to do?
She's dead.
Wait, can't they do a
Yeah.
reboot?
Yeah.
It would be perfect.
Yeah.
All right, we've got to take a quick break. But, of course, we have a question, and it's going to be a double question.
How about does it involve numbers?
No. Do you not like my numbers obsession?
Math is hard for me.
Okay.
Is
So
it math?
the original narrator for Soap, right?
Yep.
Before Rod Roddy, who was it? That's question number 1. And then
Okay.
question number 2 is about Rod Roddy himself. What game show was he the announcer of?
That's the easiest
Is that
question of
easy?
the day.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right.
I don't know that one.
Well, we'll be right back after the break. You're listening to the Wow Report on Radio Andy.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
I sure do love my munchies, especially when they're only $3.99. And did you know you can download the World of Wonder Plus app for the exact same amount? It's so cheap, I can't even believe it. Now that's something to about. And you can watch my series, Puff Puff Sessions, right now. That's right, only $3.99 a month. So get out there and pop about it.
Welcome back to the Wow Report. I'm Fenton. I'm here with Tom and James St. James and our special guest, Andy.
Andy Cohen.
Because
Here on Radio Andy. How did we do it?
I know. 'Cause it's
Daddy's
our-
in the basement with us.
I know.
Daddy's
I
coming
love it.
here.
Daddy's on the
Love it.
boulevard.
Everybody be on,
That really upsets me, that phrase. I don't know what it is.
Boulevard of Broken
No, everybody
Dreams.
be on your best
Daddy's the
behavior.
basement. Like,
You don't like that?
Get mama out. Get sissy out. Daddy's the basement.
And we're celebrating our 100th anniversary of the Wow Report.
100th episode.
100th episode.
100th episode. And that's right, 100th anniversary.
anniversary.
Feels like 100 years.
Feels like 100.
So the question was before the break, because we were talking about soap. Who was the original narrator before Rod Roddy?
On this ABC show, The Soap.
Yes.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm going to say it was Gary Owen, because that's the only
Oh, that's
person I
good.
can think of.
Gene Rayburn.
Who was it?
It was Casey Kasem.
Oh, wow.
And you know
Voice of the
why?
70s.
He left the show because of the adult themes made him
Yeah.
nervous
Oh,
very
and controversial.
yeah.
Thought it would
Really?
hurt his family-friendly
Really?
And
reputation.
he was very
And Rod
conservative.
Roddy was the
Right.
announcer on The Price is Right.
That is absolutely right.
Yes.
Very good. For 17 years.
Yes, I know. That's why I know that.
All right, so we're
Yeah.
counting down the top 10 shows that make us go.
Yay.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay,
God, I'm
whatever.
so sorry.
Yeah, this is.
We'll get with it.
We're not going to get renewed.
Yeah.
And we've reached number 4.
Number 4.
All right, Tom. I'm nominating Designing Women. Now, you know, a lot of other shows get a lot more props, get a lot more like gays, play them outside. But Designing Women was around in the 80s and 90s. And I'm a cornball because, of course, you had the fabulous Dixie Carter, who was a Republican in real life, but had to do all of these like Democratic, liberal, like, speeches that were so moving as Julia Sugarbaker. Her sister, played by Delta Burke,
God bless
Suzanne
her.
Sugarbaker. And Delta went through a whole weight gain thing during that
Yes.
time.
Didn't
Left
they get
the
rid of
show.
her because
Yes.
of the weight? Yeah.
Yeah, and they had like an episode called "They Shoot Fat Women," don't they?
Yes,
It was like
that was major.
Everything was this major kind of like the way talk shows would bring up a topic and just exploit it.
Major speeches.
And then of course Annie Potts, who's still on she's on that young
Younger.
The spinoff of Big Bang Theory, Young Sheldon. She's the grandmother in that. Jean Smart, who's an amazing actress.
I love Jean Smart.
And Meshack
Charlene.
Taylor. Let's not forget Meshack Taylor.
And was Meshack gay on the he played like this ninny, but he actually dated women.
They had him with a woman, and he was supposedly an ex-con. They had a black ex-con.
Yeah, that was. But he was so not
mannequin.
He was so gay. Yes,
Yeah.
he was so
always
weird.
Why do you think it is that it doesn't have the same cachet that Golden Girls does, or some of the other shows? Like, what
That's a
what
good
is it that it
question.
doesn't translate to this generation?
I do not understand. I just think it's got a bum rap. I can't explain it because there's very few things. We're going to talk about one of these shows later, but that people used to go watch Dynasty in the gay bars. When I used to go see to the Revolver in West Hollywood, they would play comedy night was Tuesday night, and they would play comedy clips, and they would play the speech of all time.
The night the lights went out in Georgia.
I'm going to do it now. This is so good. This is when Delta Burke has gained weight. She was Miss Georgia. She was this airhead winner, and she's being made fun of by the current Miss Georgia contestants. And Julia Sugarbaker, her sister, who usually makes fun of her, overhears them. And the woman, the woman who's making fun of Suzanne, his name is Marjorie. And so Dixie Carter had Julie Sugarbaker, performed by Tom Campbell. She says, Marjorie, that Suzanne was not just any Miss Georgia. She was the Miss Georgia. Mind you, gay people, the entire
Everyone
bar,
knew this by heart. Basically.
Thank you. And they'd say, she didn't just twirl a baton. That baton was on fire. And when she threw that baton into the air, it flew higher, further, faster than any baton has ever flown before, hitting a transformer and showering the darkened arena with sparks. And when it finally did come down, Marjorie, my sister caught that baton, and 12,000 people jumped to their feet for 16 1/2 minutes of uninterrupted thunderous ovation as flames illuminated their tear-stained face. And that, Marjorie, just so you know, and your children will someday know, is the night the lights went out in Georgia.
Goosebumps, really, like just your rendition is really fantastic.
And I'm gonna involve you in this one. I'm gonna ruin the show because then there was one early on with Tony a young, gorgeous.
Was
Tony
there anyone
Goldwyn.
hotter than Tony Goldwyn?
And he
his
played
prime.
a character pre-prime. He's so cute. He's so touch a little twink. He's there because they're designing women. They're designing his funeral. Because he has AIDS and he's gonna die. And there's this woman named Imogene who'll be played by James St. James,
right up my alley.
who basically says, "I don't care what you all say." She goes, "You know, they're killing all the right people." And Julia says, the part of Suzanne Sugarbaker, who played by Andy Cohen, I'm Julia. And it goes, the only thing worse than all these people who never had any morals before AIDS are you holier than thou types who think you're exempt from getting it.
Well, for your information, I am exempt. I haven't lived like these people, and I don't care what you say, Julia Sugarbaker. I believe this is God's punishment for what they've done.
Oh, yeah? Then how come lesbians get it less?
That is not for me to say. I just know these people are getting what they deserve.
Imogene, get serious. Who do you think you're talking to? I've known you for 27 years, and all I can say is, if God was giving out sexually transmitted diseases to people as a punishment for sinning, that you'd be at the free clinic all the time. And so would the rest of us.
Well, I never.
Oh, fabulous.
I can't tell you, I did a horrible job, and you guys did an amazing job, but they were literally explaining to people in the 80s
that
the only way you can get
major.
AIDS is through certain fluids,
Yeah.
and they all came together and they kicked this woman out, and it makes me cry thinking
Thank you,
about it.
Linda Bloodworth.
I was
Thank
going
you.
to say, because
Thompson.
isn't Linda also the woman behind like Murphy Brown?
No. Different.
No, that's Diane.
That was Diane English.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
But she was the big Clinton
she was the
supporter
big
and all that.
Clinton.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for indulging me in my fantasy to be
was
Julia
fun.
Sugarbaker for
anytime.
just a
Yeah.
little bit.
Designing Women aired from 86 till 93. It only won one Emmy.
Wow.
163 episodes, 7 seasons. You can watch it on Family Entertainment TV.
Oh.
Yeah. Number 3.
Number 3.
Okay, I really just have 2 words to say. Golden Girls.
Yeah, I mean this. This could have been number 1. I mean,
Right.
You know,
it's. You know what? When it came out in in the 80s,
85.
right? 85.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. I was like, what is this? Now it is on every single night at home.
Do you know there's a gay version of Golden Girls
I
in
saw
development
that. Oh, I
in
heard
Palm
that.
Springs?
Yes,
But isn't that a
And
little
so
redundant?
John
Silver
Hill
Foxes.
said, Andy, you should audition for that. And I said, how dare you? And he said, I bet you some of them were in their 50s when
Well,
it
I was gonna
started.
say,
And so
yes.
we looked it up
right,
on Andy
absolutely
Cohen
true.
Live. B and B.
McClanahan.
Arthur
Right.
and
White?
Betty White were both in their early 60s. And Estelle Getty was like 66. And Ruzy was 51 when it started. So I'm available.
You would be the Rue McClanahan.
I would
because you'd be the sexy, spirited one.
I'd be the one fucking
going through man
everybody,
and after
yes.
man after
It's
man.
kind of redundant to make.
That's
I mean,
what I'm
because it
saying.
is.
I don't
it
know
is-
that we actually need this.
It's-
We
I
have.
know.
It's three gay men, right?
Yeah.
And they're living in the house. You know, a few years ago, we made a pilot for NBC called Silver Foxes, which was supposed to be a reality version of
Golden
the Golden
Girls.
Girls. And
With women?
I knew it was doomed with women. It was supposed to be. We were doomed the moment the executive said, "Well, do they all have to have grey hair?" Like there was this sort of anxiety about really using
really old people.
yeah.
No one likes old people.
That's
So it was-
hilarious. You know that I really wanted to do early in the run of The Real Housewives. We had casting for the Housewives of Boca, and they were all in their 60s and 70s.
That would be
Lauren
fabulous.
Zelaznik did not want to do it, and I was like, this will be like the reality Golden Girls. This is going to be huge. It will be the most mass version.
Let's do it.
Well,
Let's
who
do
is
it.
it?
World
From
of Wonder
the
needs to
Miami
do
one. Who is the
our
old
first
lady
Housewives.
Leah
Black?
No,
Grannies.
Oh, Mama
the real
Elsa.
grandmas.
Yes.
The real grannies. Here's the thing, though. Like, it is a sort of unwritten rule, or maybe it's even a written rule, that old people are the kiss of death in TV,
But
right?
it's not. It's so not true. Excuse me. Angela Lansbury ran for 18
Yes,
seasons, and at the time she was considered super old, and now she's super
And she's
old.
on Broadway.
And it's
Yeah.
probably like 40 something.
Yeah,
at the
right.
time.
And it makes
Exactly.
even less sense with the baby boomers aging out. Like,
Right.
what
No,
is
it makes
like,
no
Don't you think
sense.
it's just a matter of time then before something?
All the old people are forced on radio. Oh. I remember my special recollection of Golden Girls at the time of the first run was it was Saturday night, and so you were kind of getting your
Yeah.
pre-party
Getting
on,
ready. Yeah,
your
yeah.
drinks and getting ready, and everyone would
Yes.
stop and watch that. At 9:30 we'd go out.
What a
Yes.
weird time to be on.
I know,
when
it's
did
so
Saturday?
interesting that
used to be a
was
big night.
That used to be the big TV night, but that must have been the last huge mass show that ran on a Saturday night. I bet anything that it
yeah.
was, because it was a top 10, maybe
It was.
top 5 show for many years.
But what's unique about it, I think, also is its longevity. I mean, it plays and plays and plays. And as someone who watches it, I swear to you, no lie, every single night, because really my husband is obsessed.
Really?
And sometimes more than one episode. So I must have seen each episode at least 100 times. It's still funny.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
you know, it is
still
also-
It's like I Love
amazing.
Lucy that way.
But
It's
it's
just
like
so
the
good.
Twilight Zone, where I have seen every single damn episode 100 times, and yet every once in a while there's a new one that I've never seen, and I
And
think,
then-
like, how
right.
have I gone, 51 years without seeing this episode?
How long did it go?
Well, then it got a little shaky at the end with Golden Palace,
Yeah.
and Golden
yeah.
Showers.
Oh, yeah. And
yeah.
they started off wobbly because they had that gay guy in the house.
Oh,
Remember?
yeah.
He only made the pilot.
And they tried to do like a spin-off with Debbie Reynolds and
That
Rita
didn't
Moreno,
work.
and that didn't work.
No.
I know.
Anyway.
Well, Golden Girls is in syndication on the Hallmark Channel and also
It's playing
on
right now
Logo.
in Fenton's house.
Yes.
Every night. Come over.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
So, what have we got for number 2?
Number 2.
Well, number 2, we're sharing. Andy and I
Yes,
are.
I think these are the shows that actually did make us gay. I put these on. This was my spank bank, basically.
Oh, yeah,
yes,
no, totally.
am I right?
Totally. You go ahead with
Well, I
yours.
mean, Chips for me. Seeing Erica Estrada in that. If you don't know what Chips was, it was about 2 California Highway Patrol guys on motorcycles. And
The
Erica
dark and the
Estrada,
blonde,
yes, the
yeah,
dark and the
she
blonde,
had one
Larry
for each.
Wilcox and Erica Estrada. Erica Estrada, this Mexican guy who was packed in so
I mean,
tightly.
you've never seen an
He
ass
looked like
on
a
television
Honcho
like that.
magazine.
It was
spread.
cult model good.
Yes,
right?
cult model good. It
Yep.
was right before the clothes come off. It was the first picture in the clothes,
Yes.
and then the clothes come off. It was so hot. And then my other one for this is just Trapper John MD, only for Gonzo, who was Gregory Harrison.
yes. Yes.
There was a shot of him in the opening credits coming out of the shower in a towel. And I watched it. Oh, I never watched the show. I only watched
the opening.
The opening just to see that shot.
Okay, because for me it was the Dukes of Hazzard.
Yes.
Which
Also,
Tom.
Were you a John Schneider guy or a Tom
John Schneider?
Wopat?
I was John Schneider all the way.
I would go Wopat
but they were
myself.
both just gorgeous. They were both really hot guys.
Short.
And also Starsky and Hutch, which looking at them now, they aren't as hot.
I will tell you.
Oh, see,
David
I think
Soul
they're
and-
actually hotter now than I realized then. I think then I was like, oh, there's something interesting, but now I'm like, holy crap.
I distinctly remember the way that you have Gregory Harrison's towel.
Yeah.
There was in the opening title sequence, they had like drawstring white pants on, and they're running down the beach, and it is
flopping,
like baby elephant walk.
I remember that. But you know what? What you're speaking to is something very important, which is there was no porn. There were 3 TV channels. There was no cable. So we were stars, right?
Anything.
There were like men in underwear. I mean, Hanes ads.
Lyle Wagner on the
Hanes
Cabernet
ads,
show would sometimes wear like a
Fruit of the
Speedo,
Loom.
and I'd be like,
But the thing is about that to that end is that you were allowed to have a Dukes of Hazzard poster in your room, and you wouldn't be gay.
Yes.
You could have a Chips poster in there, and you could say I just like the show. But you could then jerk off at night, and your friends wouldn't know.
You're right.
But
your friends knew.
See, I was overcome by Batman and Robin. Those suits, I didn't know. I was too young to actually know what was happening to me, but I became wildly overexcited. And my
Robin.
parents banned me from watching it.
not because you were overexcited.
Yes, I was overstimulated.
I used to be furious that on sitcoms, whenever anybody got their pants fell down for some comedy thing, they'd have on big, baggy boxer shorts with like red hearts on them. I'm like, where are the briefs? Where are the briefs? Which is why, by the way, on RuPaul's Drag Race, we have the pit crew, because I was insisted that we just have people in underwear just standing around. With big, old dicks.
No, it's great, right? do the pit crew have big?
Yes.
Big,
I mean,
really?
I don't know.
Really?
They do, I think.
I've seen
Because the only reason I
Sean's.
know, because I've not seen them.
The ginger?
No, that's Bryce.
I've not seen them naked, but in the first couple of seasons when we were showing Logo and in low def, they didn't have to wear. They have to wear like underwear panty shields now.
Yes.
They have to wear things over.
really?
But the first couple
Why?
seasons they didn't.
They didn't bother with it.
Why
right.
do they have to wear panty shoes?
And I can tell you, they're
Well,
both
that's not
they're
fun.
both Jewish. No, I mean there's a lot of things I know about them from.
Okay, we have to
Really?
take a quick break and have a quick
I don't
wank.
think we should take a break.
We'll be
no?
right back. And then we'll reveal the #1 show that made us gay. The #1 TV show, gay TV show of all time. Stay with us because there's a twist, of course.
Ooh.
You're listening to Wow Report on Radio Andy, Sirius XM.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Hey Drag Race fans, I'm inviting all of you to this year's RuPaul's DragCon here in Los Angeles, and I want all of you to go to RuPaulsDragCon.com and get your tickets. The dates are May 11th, 12th, and 13th. See you guys soon.
We're back. You're listening to the Wow Report, and we have been counting down the top 10 shows, TV shows that made us go
Gay.
Yay!
We got it down.
We're so happy to be here with
Yay.
Andy
This is
Cohen.
the rehearsal.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna do it all over again now.
Okay, so the #1, we've each picked a #1, but Andy, you get to decide.
We're gonna present it to you, and you get to choose.
Oh, okay.
Right.
#1.
Okay, good. Well, I already have my choice, but go ahead.
Oh, I'm going to start. I'm going to throw out the match game. And I'm going to put it together with Hollywood Squares
Well, that's
because
too. You're
there was that
cheating.
time, but it was
Well,
the
it's the
after
same genre.
Yes, and it was after school, and it was like cool cocktails hour for me, having a Pop-Tart, maybe a pizza
And
from
they
the
had
oven.
they always had a major
Charles
queen.
Nelson Riley,
Paul
Lind.
Well, Brett Summers was
Brett
very,
Summers was
his
a great
camp is
fag
cool.
hag.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I feel like a lot of my sense of humor comes from how sassy they were. Rosemary, who was not gay, but was like the single sad lady
Well, they were
above
always
Paul
wasted,
Lind.
weren't they?
Fanny Flagg.
Fanny
Yeah.
Flagg, big old lesbian. And so I just felt
Was
like that.
Fanny Flagg a lesbian?
I think so.
Really?
I feel like, so those people were like I didn't know it at the time,
They
but
were
they
your
were kind of
babysitters.
my babysitters and my gay aunts and uncles who
Yeah.
made me as hilarious as I am today. Okay, that's my presentation.
Okay, good.
Okay, I'm gonna go. Well, you go. You
Okay,
go.
well,
James.
I'm saying that it's the cartoons. It's Johnny Quest. Do you remember Johnny Quest?
Of course I do.
He had the gay dads. He had Race Bannon. He had a bear dad and a
that's
silver
so
daddy
funny.
dad. And then he had his best friend Haji, who was a little Indian boy that they adopted. And Haji was in his little great Nehru suit,
Tunic?
with
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
and the with
Turban.
the turban with the jewel in it, the pink jewel.
Yep.
And he
Yes.
was it was as gay as can be. Also Speed Racer and also Astro Boy, where they were just those were my boyfriends. That's really what made me gay.
Oh, all right, but you've got 2 shows. You've got 3.
No, but they're the same
genre.
genre.
They're
They're
the
the
same
same
thing.
genre. There
You
were
be
copycat
singular, be
shows. in
singular.
time.
Dynasty. One word. Yes.
Ba-ba-ba.
And I'll tell you why it's gay. Because obviously it's because of Joan Collins, who appears in season 2.
But Steven.
Well, I'll come to him in a second. Those crenellated shoulder pads, I mean, laying track, I think, for Drag Race. I mean, it was the ultimate drag queen appearance.
It
Nolan
really
Miller.
was.
Nolan Miller,
In fact,
right?
Yeah.
we have just shot a film. You know, Elton John's going on tour.
Yeah.
He's going on
Yes.
a 3-year farewell tour.
Yes.
We've just shot a film.
Which Rod Stewart called on my show a desperate cash grab.
Oh,
bitch. Go on.
She's just jealous. So here's the thing. We've just shot a video that he's going to play in his show for the Bitches Back with the drag queens of Drag Race.
Oh my God, that's
Playing
amazing.
Dynasty.
I saw some pictures from the
Yes.
set, and they rented an amazing
That's
80s mansion, and they are
amazing.
done up.
That's
They are
well,
amazing.
Delta is
Pool
probably
fights.
Joan, right? Doesn't she do or no
Well,
Morgan?
I really
Morgan's
can't
there.
reveal.
Morgan. Okay,
I
yeah.
really can't
That's
reveal.
amazing.
But I also want to talk about Al Corley, who played
The original Steven.
who was gay.
Can I
Dreamy.
tell you?
Al
and
Corley
gay.
was gay
No,
originally?
no, Al
No,
Corley was-
Steven was
his
gay.
character was
yes,
gay.
and then they
Yes.
replaced him. He got
Yes.
blown up in an oil rig,
Yes.
and they replaced
Had
him
terrible
with
plastic surgery.
guy.
was
But
pretty cute.
Gordon Thompson, who played Adam Carrington, was actually
Was really gay, but he played a straight character.
But he played a straight
And he
character.
supposedly had quite a reputation at the Sports Connection.
Really?
Known as the Sports Erection.
Really?
Wait, can I have a great trivia question
You're
here.
changing
Do you know,
the topic
No,
from
no, no.
that?
Do you know what how Al Corley got the job?
He slept with.
I have no idea.
I don't know.
He was
Esther
the
Shapiro.
doorman at Studio 54.
Oh, yes, I knew
Yes,
that.
and
Well,
that's-
that makes sense.
and so
because
that's
he's
how
That
they
does.
so beautiful.
He was beautiful. John James also.
yeah.
Jeff Colby was
a lot of eye candy here.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
There
A lot
is.
of eye candy playing tennis, and Alexis always had male assistants
Of
that were
course.
so hot.
And even Crystal, even ditzy New Age Crystal was kind of a gay
Well,
icon
Sammy
of
Joe.
sorts.
And
sure.
Sammy
Oh,
Joe was
Sammy Joe was
everyone's
the
favorite
best.
fag hag.
Well,
yeah.
you know, in the reboot, they made Sammy Joe a man.
Did you watch it?
I have not watched it. Have you
I
watched
tried.
it?
It's
No
terrible.
need. Why
I
bother?
can't.
Yeah.
I used
No
to
interest.
secretly, because I wasn't really out in college, and I met this. I was an undergrad. I met this Harvard law student. Maybe it was Barack Obama. No, in the restroom of the Science Center, and we would go back to his dorms quietly and secretly because it was all straight people,
watch
and we would
Dynasty.
spoon and watch Dynasty, and I can still smell Kevin. I won't say his last name.
Dynasty got so crazy, like when it
Moldavia.
reached
Moldavia.
its height, Moldavia and Catherine Oxenberg. But then when they spun it off into the Colbys, and Sable Colby came in, and she was the Alexis of that, and it was Stephanie Beacham,
Beacham.
and
Yeah.
it was what's her name?
Emma Sam.
No, Emma Sams, but
Well,
no.
but wait, it was Fallon. The original one was Pamela Sue Anderson.
That's not what I'm
No, no, no,
saying. Who was the
Pamela-
major movie star lady, dykey lady with the white hair, who was on the Colbys?
Jane?
No, I
You
know exactly.
guys.
She was on Big Valley.
Yes.
She was on.
Barbara Stanwyck.
Thank you.
Oh my God!
Thank
yes.
you. But that was, the Colbys. Oh my God! I even watched the Colbys. I loved it so much.
Oh, well, since we're doubling up, I'm going to put Falcon's Crest with it.
Okay.
Jane Wyman.
There we go.
Okay.
I'm gonna
So,
give you
Andy.
my verdict, and the answer is that the gayest show is Dynasty. I mean, it just is. I mean, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're sucking up to
No, I'm really not. I'm really not.
I've said it before, but like you go out just plugging our show, but Drag Race, every gay bar in all over America is filled with people watching, and that was what happened during Dynasty.
That's
too.
true.
Yeah.
People would show up and yell at the screen. And my
I
favorite,
remember the drag queens at the club that I used to go to. They
Yeah.
would reenact it every week.
Yes.
They would do and
my
that was
favorite
big.
thing, less the guys, more the cat fights. And looking forward to the Alexis Jones and how
sure.
Ben would be in wigs. Speaking of drag, and Drag Race, we slap people every season.
All
and
the
people,
time.
Yeah.
But that's all the fake slap because it's the best.
It's the
thing
best.
ever.
Dominique Devereaux.
Yes, and Rue's it does a great. He teaches it because it's all about the reactions because it's all like whack, and then it's like it's all about their coming back. The Sammy Joe, what the?
There's a great YouTube montage, right? Of all the cat fights and the
Yes.
slapping.
Yes.
It's really
Which is
good.
really
Yeah.
filled about 50 hours of Drag Race the past 10 years.
We've reached the end of our show. Oh, but wait, the most important bit. All the blurb. Do you have Wow Presents? World of Wonders new streaming service. Exclusive content of your favorite Wow celebrities for the same price as a latte. Actually, it's slightly less than a latte.
Andy had no idea we did ads at the end of our show.
I know.
fucked.
Yeah, I am just finding this out.
Hey, Sell It Like Sand is
we cut this
starting. It's Wednesdays, Bravo, 10 p.m. RuPaul's Drag Race, of course. Thursdays, 8 p.m. And it's a 2-hour super block.
Yeah. I'm also selling a couch. If anybody wants to just reach out to me, it's a sectional and it was pretty good.
Watch Love Connection on Fox.
Yes.
Okay.
When does that come back?
May 29th. Maybe?
You've already shot some, right?
Yeah, we shot the whole thing.
Is it really, really
it's
good?
Great. We got gays on. Ooh. Lesbians.
It's important.
Yeah.
That's good.
We got everything.
All right. Can't wait for that.
Me either.
Andy, thank you for having
Thanks
us.
for
Thanks for letting
coming.
us
I
be,
love your show. I was like, I realized last week.
Wait,
I was like,
do you really listen to it? Have you
yes,
ever listened to it?
you know when I listen is
Putting him on the
typically
spot.
no, Fenton knows this because I will email him during the summer because typically that's when I drive and that's when I listen to the radio.
Okay,
It's kind
okay.
of on the way to the
typically
Hampton show.
No, it is because it's on in New York on Friday afternoon. Yeah.
And if you have any notes, you send them to us.
I never have notes. I always say, "Oh my God, it's so good." I'm like, "Wow!" Just when I thought this show couldn't be gayer, and now look at this.
I was going to say, Andy, you're a very famous gay man, but even you must feel like you're a little bit in gay
You're a little
land here.
homophobic.
We go there.
Love Simon. You're in Love Simon.
Oh, that's right.
Wasn't that a cute
It was
gag?
a great moment.
I howled.
Yeah.
He emailed me.
You
Greg
knew,
Berlanti
right?
emailed and he goes, "You and Anderson are in the movie."
a lovely
And I
moment.
said, "Oh, I can't wait to see." And then when that gag came up, I howled. It was so funny. It's a very sweet movie.
It's a
I
lovely
love Greg
movie.
Berlanti so much.
Yeah.
I love
He's a
him.
great guy.
Such a crush on him and Robbie. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway,
Okay.
Time.
Same time, same place next week. Until then, go out and do something that makes the world go.
Wow! You're gay.